All right, we are having some trouble, it seems, also with Sanjay's connection as well. Okay, more news coming in now. In a shocking turn that has sparked widespread outrage, the Kanpur Lamborghini crash case has now taken a dramatic twist. Shivam Mishra, son of prominent tobacco baron KK Mishra, has been arrested 4 days after his high-speed Lamborghini Reventón worth over 10 crore rupees crashed into an auto rickshaw, a motorcycle and pedestrians on VIP road, injuring 6 people. Police allege Shivam was behind the wheel, fled the scene and attempted to shift blame by presenting a dummy driver who later surrendered. CCTV footage and eyewitnesses reportedly placed him in the driver's seat, with bouncers rushing to pull him out post-crash. An initial FIR named an unknown person, fueling claims of a fake case and cover-up by his influential family. After days on the run, reportedly hiding in a hospital, Shivam was arrested today and produced in court, but in a move critics are calling a mockery of justice. He was granted bail within hours on a personal bond of just 20,000 rupees. Even as he reportedly argued his own case, is 5 hours of punishment, or rather just hours in custody, enough for a super crash that left 6 injured, is the big question. Joining us is Dr. PSV Rao, consultant surgeon, Manipal Hospital, Hebal, Bengaluru. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, also joins us live. Ashwini Dubey, AOR Supreme Court, is joining us on the broadcast. Brinda DK, social activist, is also with us on the program. Sanjay Sahai, finally the police have acted. They have arrested the brat who was allegedly driving this VIP vehicle, this supercar. But why did it take them so long? Sanjay Sahai is the big question.
Yeah, so they started the case with unknown driver and finally identified based on CCTV and circumstantial evidence. Why they took 4 days to arrest this person, I think only the Kanpur police will be able to answer, because it is no rocket science to either locate him either in Kanpur or in Delhi, and for whatever claims was being made by the family of that some Mohan was on the steering wheel and all those stories, and the court did not agree for surrender of Mohan. So might be there was some alibi which was being created in the meantime, for which I have the SHO of that particular police station for procedural lapses has been suspended. So after 4 days, might be they realized that there is no other way out but to arrest Shivam, and that is how the arrest was made. But there has been procedural lapses, and it should not take so much of a time. The other facet, which we'll get into in a further question, that the offences have been bailable. The vehicle involved is a costly vehicle, luxury, has been a brat, but the offences which have finally come out, or what is legally recorded and which has physically happened, are bailable offences.
Okay, let me take that to you as well now, Dr. PSV Rao, as to why this pattern is being seen across India of these cases involving supercars, super vehicles, being driven rashly, and incidents like this, which unfortunately show how the system often bows to VIP privilege and power.
Yes, this is a major problem of super rich brats. See, they are given sometimes even below the age of 18 such cars. These cars are not suitable for Indian roads because they have maximum speeds going up to 350 to 450 kilometers per hour. And secondly, these cars have 6 to 8 cylinders, are extremely heavy, about 2 tons. Now, the momentum of any object is the weight into the speed. So if you have both weight and speed, you can imagine the momentum of these vehicles. They will crash through anything and everything, any kind of obstruction. Now you allow such vehicles without speed controllers on Indian roads. You are asking for trouble. Even on abroad on superb roads, they don't. There are speed limits around 120, 130, 150, like that. Now, human reaction is too slow for speeds above 120 kilometers. In case you hit a bad patch, a road, any kind of obstruction, or any kind of ice or water on the road, slippery surfaces, any of these conditions, you will lose control. Or if there is a tire burst or any of these kind of unexpected events, the human reaction is too slow above 120. This is why many cars have a bleeping sound above 120 kilometers. I mean above 80 kilometers, and it becomes continuous after 120 kilometers. This is the scientific reason behind it. Now, these kids don't have any value for either the money or the car, because it is their parent who has given them this kind of cars. And when the incident happens, it is the parents who then use all their wealth and influence to suppress the whole case, to avoid samples being taken to find out if that person is, if that boy is drunk, or he has taken drugs. So the blood samples, if you remember the Pune Porsche case, the mother even got the samples, she gave her blood sample instead of the son's blood sample. So this is how investigation is derailed. You influence the police, you influence the whole investigation of the case, and you suppress
Yes.
the whole thing. And the person gets away. It is the poor
Yes.
victims on the road who get affected. Yes.
Because Ashwini Dubey, what often happens in such cases is that someone else is, put up as the alleged driver. Now, it then becomes the onus on the police and the law enforcement agencies to actually come to the reality, the actuality, the truth of what happened. And that's something that seems to have happened here, where despite a driver surfacing and saying that he was the one driving, the police still finally now today, on the 4th day after the crime, have arrested Shivam Mishra. And now how this case plays out further is obviously going to be watched by many people.
That's the mockery of the judicial process and our criminal justice system. Why I would say, first, the police should have registered the case for the culpable homicide. Police did not register the case. Rather, police registered the case under the simple provisions of the BNS, like rash and negligent driving, and also 125A, endangering life or personal safety of others. To the Supreme Court, time and again, and even the BNSS also says that if any offense involving the punishment for 7 years or less, the notice under the provisions of section 35 subsection 3 is mandatory to be served to an accused. That should have been avoided if the FIR would have been registered under stringent provisions. 3, in a criminal case, each second is very important. Collection of evidence, preservation of evidence, taking it to the logical end. Here, the chain is missing. 4th, shifting the blame game, as you said, that would be decided by the court at a later stage, when court will evaluate those evidences prima facie. What the court sees before trial, because 3 stages of a criminal case: suspect stage, accused stage, and convict stage. Here the case, if it is ranking between the suspect stage, that who is the Mishra is the person who was driving the vehicle, or the Pawan was driving the vehicle, that the police must have ensured that there are relevant, credible evidences ensuring that the vehicle was driven by Mishra. If the family members alleges, though at this stage the statement of accused is not relevant. Relevant is what has been collected by the police during the investigation. In that situation, police are not prompt enough to arrest, because he is not a passerby or rickshaw puller or a small man. He is a man of 1,000 crore rupees, and his father has an empire. Now, we have not learned anything from past. Pune case we have discussed, Porsche case we have discussed, BMW case we have done, number of cases we have discussed in past. What happens ultimately? Ultimately, taking the benefit of our judicial criminal justice delivery system and loopholes, they often come out. Now, tomorrow, after 5 years, if Uday, you would recall this matter, and if you will try to find out that what has happened, you will find that Shivam Mishra has been clearly acquitted from the court of law in this case. This happens quite enough in these kind of cases. That is why 106, which is very relevant, transporters started protesting all over the country, saying that if 106 you will put, then in that situation, and if we flee from the place of incident, then we will not be able to save ourselves. There will be mob lynching and other things. That would have been correctly been in place, then Shivam Mishra would not have been gone there. Killing somebody, fleeing from the spot, that itself would have been an offense. And I urge through this show to the Home Minister of this country that the ban which you have put, you must lift it immediately to ensure that citizens does not die. And one Mishra has come because he was driving such a heavy vehicle. Uday, I belong to the area, Singrauli, where 20,000 trucks plying every day on the road. Road was constructed in 1960, coal carrying vehicles, killing people every day in the police station, but that has not those lives are not in value. And 106 would have played, then definitely those accidents would have come. Now, I belong to the place where the highest accidents take place in Singrauli, because coal transporters are plying the vehicle. There is no mechanism, and every life has a value in police station where they're negotiating, because the life of every individual is fixed. The price of every individual is fixed. So that is why the 106 was the right option, which was banned. Now, fourth and important point, Uday, in these kind of cases, there should be the fast track court. The compensation only is not an issue. The logical punishment would also be, deterrent punishment will also be a guiding force where the people would not commit this kind of offenses. What cylinder the car has, nobody can stop it, because that depends on the capacity of a person, and there is no embargo. It's an individual's fundamental right to going on the road. But it's a fundamental right of that person also, rickshaw puller also. And the police has to ensure that the law and order is not violated. If violated in these kind of situations, then they would have been arrested very soon. वो सीसीटीवी लगाने का फायदा क्या उदय? जिस पुलिस इस ऐसे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का फायदा कि जब आप कहते हैं कि देश में you consider yourself one of the best police force in the country, then you must ensure that the people like Shivam Mishra is arrested on the very next day, and you have slapped the cases for culpable homicide.
Okay.
Why fix a case for
Yes.
rash and negligent driving? If it is so, then
Absolutely.
you will get
And you know what is unfortunate is that it takes so long to arrest him, and within hours, I think it took 4 days to arrest him. Within 4 hours, he's out on bail, Brinda DK.
That's why.
What are the victims to make of it? What are the victims to make of it? Brinda DK.
What will the victims make of it? These are poor people who have been on the street for their livelihood, and this guy, rash driving, impurity, he knows he will get away, because I'm sure this might not have been his first accident. But why are we not holding the police accountable? Why is it that the police thought they could get away? Technology today is telling them, witnesses are telling them that this was not the driver who was behind the wheels, it was the Shivam Mishra. But because his father is a tobacco baron, the police are scared of this man. So what is this we talk about on a daily basis? Mother of democracies, Sabka Vikas. It is not Sabka Vikas, and it is not Sabka Safety. Vikas and safety is only for the rich and influential. All the others, like the earlier panelists pointed out, a rate is fixed for that life. The livelihood is gone. They are in the hospital. What is the compensation that must be given and when? So there is no fast track court. Often we see, even if a lower court gives the maximum punishment, brings the case to a logical conclusion, the people have money, so they will appeal to the higher court. And we have the high courts and the Supreme Courts actually diluting everything. So is it the ego of the higher courts that has got hurt? And that is why there is no justice for ordinary citizens? Or is it that the courts have no regard for the law itself? I'm not looking into the clauses and the sections that must be brought back inside, brought back into activation. I'm asking a simple question. There was a hit, there were people who got hurt. Our understanding as ordinary citizens is police know who is right, who is wrong, who's the culprit, and who has got hurt. And that is the trust and faith and confidence we have in the police to say they will register a case accordingly. If not today, tomorrow I will get justice. But imagine the police being in nexus. And that is something we can't fight anywhere. Because until the police put down all your sections and establish that investigation over there with the evidence, What is the prosecutor going to be doing? If the prosecutor has nothing to argue over there, already in this particular case, I'm glad for once that the court said, bring me the culprit. I will not accept this. This affidavit is unacceptable. The person being presented, the driver, is not going to be someone whom I'm going to try. Bring that person. Now, if that court had not put their foot down, Kanpur police would have wallowed in all of this corruption. And the poor people who got injured, struggling, the whole families are struggling in the hospitals. They don't have the time and wherewithal to run to courts.
Yes.
So glad that there was this courageous judge, because today it is so shameful to tell,
Yes.
79 years down the line, courageous judge, learned judge, a judge who applies his or her mind to that case. And these are the people we
No, we have
ordinary
to see how
citizens
this case will
look forward.
progress, Sanjay Sai. We have to keep a close eye at how this case will progress, as to what will happen next, of course, in the hearings and also in the police's investigation, because this should become an example case. Hopefully then lessons will be learned in other parts of the country, but will they? That is the big question, Sanjay Sai.
See, the question is that each of these accident cases, though it comes from the rich and the brat and all that, each case is different from a criminal investigation point of view. Where the lapses have occurred in this case is where you have an unidentified driver from where we start. But it was the police who finally said that the driver is Shivam and nobody else, based on CCTV footage and the circumstantial evidence. And any effort to prop up Mohan as the actual driver of the case, I think even on the second day, even before the arrest was made, it was openly told by the police at the inspector level and the DCP level that this is the person who has indulged into this. Initially, the procedural lapses, I think SHO was supposed to pay for that. And these 4 days of delay, I don't think there is anybody who is able to substantiate, and it cannot be substantiated only when the accused is somewhere between Delhi and Kanpur and all that. With regards to this case, let's be very, very clear about the fact that these are bailable offences. From where this whole argument of culpable homicide is coming, I'm not aware of. So these are the injuries, simple injuries they are there. These are the bailable offences. And as per the bailable offences, where the punishment can be, punishment is not beyond 7 years. So they are entitled to bail, and first the notice needs to be given, and whatever the hurry in which the courts have given it, it is a bailable offence. I don't think they are left with any other choice but to give a bail. Now the issue is, where the issue is whether this fellow wanted to get away from the whole case, and secondly, whether he was competent enough to manage or damage the evidence. Now, these are the 2 points on which bail is not granted. One is primarily the risk of this fellow fleeing, and the second is if he is able to tamper evidence, and the court in its own judgment have found that these two issues don't arise, primarily for the reason that the car was brought and handed over to the police, or the police was able to seize, and there have been procedural aspects with the SHO. Now, which is of critical importance is the fact that predictability and time, that is very, very important. This is a simple case from a criminal investigation point of view, from a brat point of view, procedural lapses and variety of other points. These are certainly very, very disturbing things. Coming to criminal investigation as such, this case can be investigated and it can be put on trial in just around 8 to 10 days time. And if there is a fast track court which gets into the act and finally delivers justice, even if it is for 3 years of punishment, of imprisonment, if it is handed over within 10 days time, it will make a great amount of difference. But as our esteemed lawyer on the panel is talking about the 5 years down the line, I don't think we will be there to discuss this case again, and might be, if it is delayed by 5 years, justice is certainly denied.
Yes, it is indeed, and the system must wake up, Dr. Rao. The system needs to wake up so that such brats do not get the impunity and have a fear of the law, Dr. Rao. That is the big question.
See, if you are buying a 10 crore car or one of these really expensive cars, I see no reason why the government can't insist that the technology, there are safety technologies which have come in. There are speed controllers which can, through the GPS system or whatever other system you want, can limit the speed to the speed limits in that particular area. This is available. This is technology which is available. It will limit it to whatever speed limit has been set in that gate. Second, the devices are available which will not permit the car to start if till the driver inhales into that system to and it checks if he is on alcohol or drugs, the car won't start.
So vehicle manufacturers also have an onus, is what you're saying. Vehicle manufacturers of these supercars also have an onus apart from others in the system. All right, my thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run out of time.